Dutch courage, double Dutch, Dutch but disease. Hallo allemaal, Dutchies to be. Today we're gonna look at expressions with the word Dutch. Nowadays, Dutch refers to the people from the Netherlands and the language. So Dutch refers to Nederlanders and Nederlands. But we're going to see today that some phrases that make use of Dutch also refer to, for instance, Germans or even other Europeans. And sometimes it doesn't even refer to what we know nowadays as Dutch language and Dutch people. In this video, I'm going to show you a couple of phrases and expressions, and I used this book as inspiration. This book categorizes a lot of definitions, and today I'm going to show you a selection, and I've categorized these phrases into 5 categories. First are a couple of them referring to language. The second, they refer to people. The third, to geographical places. The fourth, to products. Export products or just products that are typically Dutch. And the fifth one is about the characteristics of the Dutch people, which usually are very negative. So they're the most funny, perhaps. We start with the people. The first is a Dutchman, and nowadays you refer with this word to someone who has a Dutch nationality. But before, it also referred to Germans and also actually to every European-looking foreigner. So this is a really old definition. Nowadays, you just use Dutch person or something, Nederlander, like a Dutch. Or the second word is Dutchie, a Dutchie, someone with a Dutch nationality. This is, of course, sort of also a pet name, like a Dutchie. Sometimes it's also used as a little bit condescending, but I find it more like a pet name and really sweet. And I'm also using this for you guys, a Dutchie to be. It's not in this book yet, or not in this edition, but maybe, Gaston, if you're gonna write a second edition, you can also add the word a Dutchie to be, because that's all of you who are learning Dutch with me. You are all Dutchies to be. The fourth are a Dutch husband or Dutch wife, a Dutch girl, and a Dutch uncle or Dutch aunt. So these are really funny because it has nothing to do with a husband, wife, a girl, or an aunt or uncle. A Dutch husband or Dutch wife refers to a sex doll, either a female or a male sex doll. The term Dutch girl is used to refer to a lesbian woman. And then the Dutch uncle or Dutch aunt, they can either refer to someone who tells their opinion, like really straightforward. And us Dutch are also known for that, like we're straightforward. Sometimes it's seen as rude, but that can be a Dutch uncle or Dutch aunt. And another definition of a Dutch uncle is a sugar daddy. In Dutch we call this suikeroom, a sugar daddy. The fifth one is the Pennsylvanian Dutch. And there's a whole history about the Pennsylvania Dutch, which refers to the people and also actually to the language spoken. And I don't want to dive into this history because it's long, it's complex, but in short, it refers to a group of Protestants from the south of Germany and some parts of Switzerland who migrated to the US in the 18th century, and they settled in Pennsylvania. Nowadays, the language Pennsylvanian Dutch is only spoken by approximately 300,000 people, mostly Amish. If you know a little bit more about this history and you like to share it, please put it in the comments. And also, by the way, if you know any other words or expressions or phrases that I'm not using today, also put them in the comments because I'm very curious which ones you know. And also, by the way, which ones you didn't know, because maybe some are really old-fashioned and they're not in use anymore. Now the second category, and those are languages, talen. The first one, of course, is Dutch. In Dutch, we call Dutch Nederlands. Dutch is not only spoken in the Netherlands, but also in Flanders, in Suriname, in the ABC Islands, which are Aruba, Bonaire, Curaçao, in Sint Maarten, and also Dutch was the foundation of nowadays Afrikaans, which they speak in South Africa. The foundation was 17th century Dutch, and then it got mixed with English and some Creole languages. But maybe you didn't know that Dutch was spoken in these countries as well. The second term is DUNGLISH. And in Dutch, we call DUNGLISH steenkolen Engels. DUNGLISH is when you translate Dutch literally into English. So actually, it's a kind of English, not Dutch. And I recently made a video about DUNGLISH. And this, for instance, is an example of DUNGLISH. How was Portugal? Oh, it was very nice. I had it really to my sin. By the way, you see there really good out. Did you fall down the trap? Lastly, we also have the term double Dutch, which actually has 3 definitions. And the first definition refers to the language, but more in a general sense, that if you speak in a way that it's really not comprehensible, when it's really not understandable, then you can call this double Dutch. The history for this term referring to language is that Anglophone Americans didn't understand, for instance, the languages spoken by the Europeans, such as Germans or the Dutch, and they referred to this language that they thought was just one language with Dutch. And later they started to use double Dutch. So that's the one referring to when you cannot understand what someone is saying. He's speaking double Dutch. And an expression, I don't know if you know it, but I find it really funny. It is double Dutch backwards on a Sunday. Do you know this expression? Please let me know in the comments. Another definition is that when you're jumping ropes and you have 2 ropes that are spinning in opposite directions, that's also called double Dutch. And the third definition is something that you probably also know, or in the Netherlands at least, it's very common when you refer to people having intercourse and they're using 2 kinds of contraception, one of them being a condom and the other one is like the contraceptive pill or something else. This terminology started in the 1980s because of the AIDS epidemic. So girls used a contraceptive to prevent from getting pregnant and also a condom to prevent from getting any sexual transmitted diseases, for instance, such as HIV. Then there's still a lot of places that are also called something with Dutch. For example, the Dutch Hill in New York or the Dutch Hills in Alaska. Neil's Dutch Village. This is a village in Holland in Michigan. It was founded in 1847 and nowadays it's like a touristic theme park. But what I found actually more interesting is that there are a lot of cities or neighborhoods or even countries that are named after something in the Netherlands. You have several kind of places that are called Amsterdam or Amsterdam, Batavia. Then, of course, in New York City, you have the neighborhood Brooklyn, you have Harlem. So Brooklyn is for Breukelen. Harlem is referring to Haarlem. And you have a whole country named New Zealand. And Zeeland is a province in the Netherlands. Now the 4th category is about Dutch products or Dutch exports. And we have a couple for food. For example, the Dutch donut, which in the Netherlands is an oliebol. The Dutch waffle, which is a stroopwafel, and this is actually a favorite of many of people visiting the Netherlands.
You never know when you're in the mood for a good strooping.
And Dutch gin. In Dutch, we call this jenever. It's a gin made from jeneverbessen, so gin berries. And actually, gin, if you hear it, jenever, gin. It's derived from jenever. It's short, but adapted a bit, the pronunciation and the spelling. Also a Dutch product is the Dutch masters, the Nederlandse meesters. The Dutch masters were painters from the 17th century. For instance, Frans Hal, Vermeer, Rembrandt, and they're known all over the world. And then we have the Dutch tulip. And of course, when you think of a tulip, you know, it's a flower, but it's also used to refer to a specific kind of way of rolling a joint, which is kind of hard. I don't know. I never roll joints, but apparently if you roll it like this, it's called a Dutch tulip. The last category, which is the most fun, This one refers to Dutch characteristics that are seen most of the time as very negative. Most of these terms, most of these expressions, they were invented by the English in around 17th century or 18th century. And I think they don't like us so much because most of them are very negative. Probably because we were in war with them lots of times, naval wars, other kinds of issues that we have with each other, and they saw us as very boorish, using lots of alcohol, didn't have any taste. So we're gonna look at a couple of expressions that they made up for us. The first one is about alcohol. For instance, the term DUNGLISH. That refers to excessive alcohol abuse. The next one, as drunk as a Dutchman. Apparently we were drunk a lot. And a Dutch feast is very interesting. That refers to when the host of the feast, the host of the party, is drunk before anyone else. We also have Dutch courage or Dutch spunk, Dutch nerve, and that means that we only are courageous after we drank a lot. So actually we're not courageous, but again, we drink a lot and then we get courageous. Yeah, so you can see the Dutch were seen as boozers, and nowadays the Dutch are seen as being high all the time, which is also funny because I think compared to people from other countries, we're not always high. But yeah, we have this image that we were either boozers or nowadays we are, how you say that? Stoners. Then we also have the term a big Dutchman. We were really big. I don't know if we were big at that time actually, but let's say we were big. We were big losers, big dots. Another stereotype was that we are very stingy and very cheap, or were, or still are. I think it's still a stereotype. We have also a couple of expressions. The first one is to do a Dutch. That means you leave without paying. The second one is going Dutch, which is already a bit better because at least you're gonna pay. But if you're in company of people, either one or more, and the bill arrives, you get the bill, you look at what you had, or sometimes you split the bill, but it's even better to just calculate what you had because maybe others, they had more, you know, you don't want to pay for them. So you just, you know, calculate that and give exactly that amount. And nowadays we even developed an app for this because maybe you didn't bring your wallet and you just wanted to do a Dutch, so leave without paying. But then someone from the group says, no, okay, I will pay for you now, but I'm gonna send you a tikkie so you can pay me back right away. Then we have Dutch bargain, nowadays also wet bargain. And this is when you negotiate and it's only in favor of one person. Especially it should be in favor of the Dutch, of course. Another thing that the English thought of us was that we are kind of boorish and we have really bad taste. And something that really shows bad taste, and I really agree with them, is when you pull a Dutch oven. Oh my God, a Dutch oven is so gross.
Freddy's Dutch Oven. Love this place. Unfortunate name, but best stroopwafel in Hollywood.
You are in bed with someone and that person feels the need to fart and then push your head under the sheets and, you know, pull it all over. Oh my God. But a Dutch oven originally was referring to a Dutch saucer, a Dutch casserole, like this kind of pan. And if you cooked in this and you put on the lid, it kept the aroma inside very well. So this was a Dutch oven. If you do the same with farting and you put the sheet over it, it also preserves and keeps the aromas inside. Having a Dutch palate, that refers to having really bad taste. I think referring to the taste like in your mouth. I don't know why people think that because we just have excellent cuisine, don't we? We have stamppot, we have a frikandel, we have bitterballen, we have, yeah, not really that great of a cuisine. Maybe they were right. A Dutch palate. It's not really refined. Lastly, I would like to finish with 3 really funny expressions. The first one is a Dutch butt disease. What is a Dutch butt disease, DBD? It refers to a voluminous buttocks that apparently Dutch women used to have or still have. If you look at my butt, I really don't suffer from this disease. Unfortunately. Yeah, big butt, Dutch butt disease. As hot as Dutch love. Ooh, that sounds already a bit better. And this is when you're having really hot, nice time with someone. The last one is up the Dutch shit. And they say, or in this book was written that this is used in New Zealand to say that you are having big trouble. You're really up the Dutch shit. And then I asked a friend of mine who is from New Zealand, and he said that he didn't know this expression at all. So if you're from New Zealand and you're watching this, let me know if you know this expression, please. Maybe it's already old-fashioned and not in use anymore. That was it for today. I hope you liked this video. And if you want to learn more Dutch with me, today I wasn't talking in Dutch. Most of the time I am. If you want to learn more Dutch or more about Dutch, like this video, and you're not subscribed yet to my channel, then you can do that right now. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And then I see you soon in next video. Doei!